So here's the deal. Coming to you live from Casa del File. I'm sure you're all sick and tired of reading my rants and rages. And if you don't want to read them, that's fine. You have the right not to do so. But I'm going to give it to you right here because it's become abundantly clear to me that none of us are free. We all have the illusion of freedom. We have the illusion of safety and comfort. Those illusions are beginning to fragment right in front of your eyes. Then perhaps you're on the right track. Complacency and comfort have taken over everything that we do. That's how we make our decisions. And we don't stop to realize what the bigger picture is. And I think the bigger picture is coming in front of us right now. We drank the Kool-Aid. We swallowed the poison in a small enough amount that we haven't noticed that it's killing us. It's like the stories of people being poisoned by somebody putting small amounts of arsenic in their food over time. And once that builds up and accumulates to a high enough point, then it's too late. And you're dead. We're at that precipice right now. Free speech has been dashed. We don't even know what we can or cannot say to one another anymore. We're fearful of offending another person or group. It used to work like this. You say something stupid, and somebody else refutes that, and they come back at you with logic. And if your stupidity turns out to be okay, then you come back at them, and you argue something out through diction, a verbal argument. But we're too scared to even do that anymore. There's just things you can't even say, and now we find ourselves in this position. It's just a sad time. We're caught up in a time that completely lacks logic. We've allowed ourselves to be controlled by a small group of people who we have voluntarily elected to run our lives. We've voluntarily put these people in charge of us. And for the life of me, I can't understand. We argue about presidential elections between families become torn up over this, over who you're going to vote for to be the supreme ruler of your life. I mean, do you really need a supreme ruler? Somebody that's, does it really matter if it's Trump, Hillary, Bernie? Why do we have to do this? Why do we have, as a herd mentality, why do we have this idea that we need to have somebody there in charge of us? It's crazy. We've allowed ourselves to be controlled. We've allowed them to make the decisions that run our lives, to tax us, to take our money, and that's a whole nother thing that I'll get into. My question is this: when do we put down our silly hats? When do we put down our flags? When do we put down all this nonsense that we've been told divides us all? I mean, we're in the middle of the biggest economic upheaval in the history of this country, and we're all worried about this $1,200 payment, which is going to do what for any of us? I mean, those of us, there's some of us that don't have to worry about it, but for the most part, $1,200 isn't going to do much for any of us except pay off a portion of our bills. And then where's that money go? It goes right back to the bank, right? So, the Fed makes this so-called money out of thin air. They're not even going to print it. It's going to be a digital number that's going to go to the bank. They're going to loan it out to us suckers. They're saying it's forgivable for the smaller business people, but then, the contingency is you have to keep all your employees on. Well, what if you can't do that? I mean, what happens when all these corporations buy up everything? When everything hits an all-time low and these corporations swoop in with this $4.3 trillion worth of fiat currency that doesn't even exist, and they take everything, then we're all done. We're all done. It's time to put down the hats. Time to put down the flags, identity politics, all this nonsense. We got to stop with putting these walls up between ourselves. We got to break the walls down. We got to build some bridges. Because if we all unite with one another and understand that we're all going for the same thing, that we're all just trying to exist, and we're trying to provide for our families and our children and raise good human beings and do right by one another. I mean, that's how society progresses. But this quagmire of nonsense that goes on in D.C. and the way they just rule over us and we just let it happen, it's time to hit the reset button. And everybody looks at this pandemic as a bad thing. I'm trying to look at it as perhaps it's a positive thing. Perhaps it's what we need. Perhaps it's time that we do reset this thing because we've gone sideways. I mean, as human beings, we've gone completely sideways. The almighty dollar that rules us all. And what is it? It's nothing. There's no gold backing it. There's nothing there. It's an instrument for the elite to control us. That's all it is. They don't care about the money. It doesn't matter to them. What they care about is power. And through controlling us, that's their power. Human beings, we're the commodity, we're the currency for the elite. And we've allowed this to happen to us. You know, it's just a sad, sad deal. You know, and I'm sorry for going on a rant. I know a lot of you probably don't even want to hear it. If you don't, turn it off. But we've been tricked into wage slavery, paycheck to paycheck. A third of us didn't pay rent this month. A third of 350 million people did not pay rent this month in this country. It's going to be 2/3 next month. And then you watch these politicians and they clap each other on the back, they babble, and they talk about what they've done and how great this bill is that they just passed, you know, and then they talk about what they're going to give you. Give you? Are you kidding me? You want to sit there like Oliver Twist with your little cup? Oh, pardon me, sir. Can I have some more? How much money have all of us paid in taxes over the years? I mean, and the amount of money that you pay in taxes in your entire life is spent by that federal government like that. A fraction of a second, it's gone. And you don't have any say over where that money goes. You know where it goes? To bombs, killing brown people overseas, for oil wars that perpetuate George Bush Sr.'s nonsensical, you know, whatever the hell he had going with Saddam Hussein, and then Bush Jr. comes in, and then we get the same thing with Obama. You know, the guy wins a Nobel Peace Prize, and I mean, he ran us out of bombs at one point. You know, I mean, took us from 2 wars to 7, and here we are in the same boat. And then the sad thing is, you know, a lot of people think, oh, okay, Bernie's got our interest in mind. He's looking out for the workers, and I mean, he cowers every time, breaks weak. Now he's going to be endorsing, you know, Joe Biden, who's just a corporatist Republican, you know, in sheep's clothing. He's not. I mean, it's just more of the same thing. You know, he's corrupt. I mean, and the sad thing is that the one everybody hates, Trump, he's showing more, he's out-lefting the leftists, which is crazy. You've got Pelosi and Schumer pushing all these shit-ass bills through, and Trump is the one that's actually trying to help people out, you know, at least from what I see. I mean, yeah, the guy's a megalomaniac, and he's arrogant, and he's, you know, there's a lot of things I don't agree with him, but I mean, you know, he seems like he's at least trying to help some people, you know, and I mean, it's just, it's time. I mean, when was the last time a politician made your life any better? Other than my friend Joshua. I mean, the only one I can think of is the fact that Obama gave my boy clemency. And, you know, that's about it. And a couple of the other people that I know, you know, granted them clemency for being nonviolent drug offenders. I mean, the only one that stood tall was Thomas Massey, and he got chastised in the media just for saying that he wanted a recorded vote on the stupid quote-unquote stimulus package. You know, it's garbage. I mean, we've got to take the power back. I'll probably get banned for my thoughts. Somebody has to say this shit. If you don't care for my rants, go back to sleep, you know. But if you've got a little bit of an inkling of awareness, do some homework. Look into this stuff. Reach out and speak to one another. Be good to one another. In all things, be kind. Show compassion to one another. Help each other out. Trade, barter. If you have services that you can offer, if you have extra, you know, surplus of something, and you know people are in need, trade it. You know, I've got all kinds of services I can offer. I can do anything. Anybody has stuff breaking down, things like that, please reach out to me. I'll help you. Help each other. You know, we can get away from this system the way that they've got it set up. We've got to. We've got to break free of this, because if we don't, then we're going to get crushed. That's all I got for today. Be good to one another. Love you all. If you need anything at all, even just somebody to talk to, hit me up. All right. Take care.